Hey, what's up folks? Hubbard here with another video, and this is an introduction to glassblowing and where to even start. You'll see me walking into my shop and opening up. This is my main studio. On my other sites I have a home studio that I built in my garage. But I want to give you guys just a little heads up, just show you what's going on here, the overall basics for the setup. You got your work tables, your benches, your ventilation, super important. Ventilation, definitely got to have that. You got your kiln. These scut kilns, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about in a second, but these are super clutch. They have a really good digital controller. Love the fucking scuds. Those are specifically made for us glass blowers, for our style of working in industry. And I got my fans there, and I got my oxygen tanks. So a lot of people ask, like, how do you even get going? Like, where do you start, you know? So I'm gonna go through like a little bit of a rundown on the necessary equipment, where to start and where you can purchase that equipment, and also a few key components of safety for your shop. So here we go. And I just want to make a side note that, like, my shop is a very simple construction. You know, some of the other big guys out there, they got crazy, stupid, expensive ventilation systems and all that. But this is super basic. This is what you need. You can always spend more for what you want. But my shop is definitely based on what is just absolutely needed, and that's a bench with a fan in the window, good air exchange, etc. And here's a clip from the Freeman Corbin Essential Lamp Working video that I definitely want you guys to check out.
Glass blowing is a potentially dangerous profession, and safety is very important. It is very important that your shop is set up correctly with proper equipment. Make sure you have a certified professional install and look over all of your equipment before using your shop. In this section, we will briefly go over some of the tools and equipment used in glass blowing. Every glass blowing shop needs ventilation. Good ventilation is essential to your health as a glass blower. Ventilation protects you from fumes from gold, silver, and any colors that may contain metals, as well as small particles of glass that may be floating around in your shop. Didymium eye protection is necessary for glass blowing. The flame solar flare is so bright it can cause permanent damage to your eyes without protective eyewear. Didymium glasses help filter out the harmful frequencies of light from torch flames. There are a number of basic tools useful to lamp working. For the techniques illustrated in this video, you will at least want to have the tools shown here. From left to right: clippers, small and large octagonal reamers, claw grabbers, a marble rounder, a striker, and forceps. Having designated metal trays to hold your frit and glass trash help keep your shop clean and organized. The annealing process heats up all of your work to a melting temperature and lets the piece cool slowly. Once the piece has been annealed, it will solidify into one piece of work, instead of individual sections previously welded or put together. By annealing your pieces in the kiln, they will be stronger and more resistant to heat and stress. For glass blowing, you will need a kiln that's temperatures go up to and can be sustained at 1200 degrees or more. Nice kilns are outfitted with such luxuries as a digital pyrometer, a main guillotine door, and trap doors. The digital pyrometer makes controlling the temperature of your kiln precise and easy. The guillotine door can be lifted and shut extremely easily, making it handy for working large pieces. The trap doors enable you to keep sections and small portions of your piece heated and accessible for use. The kiln we are demonstrating with here is an AIM kiln. The essentials for having a basic setup go from your torch to your tank. There are many torches and they all come in different shapes and sizes. Having a larger torch makes larger work less time-consuming and easier. A torch that can produce a small and large flame is generally your best bet for lamp working. Use pipe clamps to connect your fuel hoses to your torch. Pipe clamps will ensure your hoses do not come loose. Your hoses will run to check valves that only allow gases to flow from the tank to the torch. The check valves are connected to regulators that regulate the pressure of the gas from the tank to the torch. One is connected to a propane tank and the other to an oxygen tank. This is a simple explanation of the minimal amount of equipment necessary to connect your torch to your fuel tanks.
Okay, folks, that was Freeman Corbin Essential Lamp Working video. Definitely check it out. And this is the Mountain Glass catalog. So this is the main sort of retail supplier in the country. There's other suppliers. There's ABR. This is Mountain Glass. There's Winship. They might have merged actually, but in any case, this is a good catalog to get all of your crap from. We all use this. And if you check this out, these are the colors, right? This is your color palette. And these examples, like these Shellbow Goblins, this is all the same color, and you can see how the color, when it gets used, can refract differently in the light. So that's why they have like sculptures or mushes or whatever. Again, flip the page. Here's a bunch of different torches you can buy. I'll definitely have to make a video going into what kind of torch you want, you know, anywhere from a few $100 to several $1,000s. All depends on what kind of work you're gonna do. But like in that Freeman video clip I showed you, you definitely want a torch that can have a small flame and a big flame. And that will make your life a lot easier. Another accessory that you're gonna wanna get is an L marver, shaped like the letter L, and that goes on top of your torch. Super clutch piece of equipment. And they even have starter kits. So this is like a starter kit of like raw material right here. And hang on one second, right? Yeah, they even have starter kits with your hoses, your regulators, your very basic tools, and they go based on what kind of torch you're gonna get. So each kit will be priced depending on the torch. My personal opinion is this Bethlehem Bravo right here. And that is for the torch and the kit. That's the price right there. For the torch, you get regulators, hoses, tools, everything you need in that kit. And then a kiln is also another crucial piece of equipment. Lots of different kinds of kilns. That one that I just pointed at, the small mini scut, and I have the larger one like you saw earlier in the video, but these scuts are specifically designed for pipe makers. I believe by Marcel Braun even. Marcel designed these with the Scut company to be super friendly for glass blowers. And that's because the digital controller on other kilns like the Fujis and the Ames and other kind of controllers, you have to program with like calculus and a graph of ramp rates, etc. And these Scuts, they come pre-programmed, and like you saw earlier in the video, I just hit go and it starts, and that's awesome. A nice pair of glasses, obviously super clutch. But anyways, folks, this is where you get all your stuff. Mountain Glass Lampwork Supply. And then here's a book that I use for a lot of my teaching. And big shout out to Bob Snodgrass. He gave that to me in 2005 when I took a class with him. And this book has all sorts of killer information. I definitely use it as a teaching aid, and I recommend that all students, new glass blowers, etc., buy this book. Besides having a ton of useful information about your tanks, your torches, your flame size, flame atmosphere, working properties, spinning the glass, it also has a bunch of educational tutorials. If you see on my Patreon, I have that like little garden worm demo. That's one of the first lessons I teach if you've never blown glass before. I teach you how to make this solid sculpture of this little garden worm. It's pretty cute, whatever. But I got that from this book. And so this book has a lot of killer information. So definitely pick up one of these copies if you can. I believe Mountain Glass Supply even sells this book too, but don't quote me on that. And there's another sort of peep at a workstation, basic setup. The vermiculite in this picture is instead of having a kiln. Just because old school days, if you don't have a kiln, you can use vermiculite to cool down the glass because it's a fireproof material. So back in the day, if you're on Grateful Dead tour and you're making pipes and that kind of stuff, and you don't have a kiln, you can always just keep your hot glass in that vermiculite. Okay, folks, and here is a few more just sort of toys, fastening machine, a nice wet saw, an ultrasonic cleaner. I got your Dremel tools with your various bits, etc. for cold working. Over by the sink, keep all my cold working stuff over by the sink, obviously. And this is actually super clutch. This is an oven rack, I believe. I think they use it in kitchens, culinary, for baking. But it keeps all your materials, color and stuff, dust free. And this is actually a really clutch trick. So when you open up your cases, open them up so the flaps point downwards, and that way you always know what's in the case, and those flaps will prevent dust from getting into your raw material. Okie doke, folks. Now you know what to get and where to get it should you decide to start blowing glass. Also over on my Patreon, I have a detailed build of my home studio in my garage, and all sorts of other cool lessons. So stay tuned. Thanks.